right, great day to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. Great day to be alive. I'm going to set this up, so be a little patient with me as I set this up. And just jumped off of a call with a client of mine. So, uh, I did intend on hopping on this ad a lot sooner than now, but had to take care of what I had to take care of. Today, we're going to go over putting together systems to be able to help local businesses automate daily tasks. I'm not going to, it's going to be a little, the transition is not going to be as flush as possible, as flush as I'd like. And the reason for that is because I already had something pulled up. So I want to go ahead and utilize what I had pulled up. And then after, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and log in to the other account and start showing you guys the systems that are put in place for that. So let me go ahead and switch over. Great day to be alive. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, great day to be alive. Great day to be alive. Absolutely great day to be alive. So before I hop into this, before I start showing you guys exactly what I have here on the screen, I want to break down the lesson that I learned a couple years ago. And the reason I want to break this lesson down is because I think that it will help the viewer understand the mindset to have when it comes to learning a new topic, right? So today I'm going to geek out. I'm going to go into some complex systems. And when I say complex, it's only complex because of where you are from a knowledge perspective. All right. So this is called the education continuum. And I always like to give credit where credit is due. And Andy Tanner is the man that introduced me to the education continuum. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because whenever you're learning a new topic, you have to look at it like taking on a new language, right? You have to look at it like you are taking on a new language. When you start learning a new topic, we all are initially ignorant to that topic. Doesn't matter which profession you're in, whether you're a professional lawyer, you're a tax accountant, whether you run a media agency, doctors, a roofer. When you're born into this world, you don't have the skills or the knowledge that you have right now. So essentially, you're ignorant. All right. And something that I actually like to do is pull up the proper definition of these terms. Basic definition of ignorance. Ignorant. All right, so the basic definition of ignorant is lacking knowledge, lacking information, or awareness about something. So it doesn't seem as bad. Now, when you are introduced to a new topic, that's when we go into the awareness phase. Now, what is awareness? Awareness is the state of knowing about something or being conscious of it. Now, I'm gonna give you guys a little backstory. A couple years ago, I made the mistake of thinking that I was here, which I'll get into later, when I was actually here. And I'm gonna tell you guys what is here in a minute, right? But awareness is simply the state of knowing about something or being conscious of it. So I'll give you guys some examples, right? All right, so you right now may not know what I'm about to share. In fact, there's a lot of, again, systems that I'm going to put in place. And I said complex because if you're ignorant to the stuff that I'm going to put together, it may seem complex. But you're going to move through the education continuum. And after this call today, you are aware. You're aware of this topic, these systems, the tools that I use, the services that I offer to help local business owners. And after you're aware, you then move over to competency if you choose. You move over to competency if you choose, meaning you can keep scrolling. There's nothing stopping you from continuing to scroll, right? However, competency is, let's go ahead and give you the exact definition. The ability to do something successfully or efficiently, right? So this is when you are not only aware of said topic, but you're actually doing it, right? Depending on the industry you're in. Let's say you are in roofing. Let's say you're a plumber. Let's say you're a tax professional. Let's say that you do massages, or you're a professional basketball player. Well, at that point, if you're a professional, bad example. Let's say that you are a teacher, right? At this point, you're doing it. You're actually doing it. You're not just aware of making money online. You're not just aware of email marketing. You're not just aware of being able to generate leads via Facebook ads. You're not just aware that it could be done. You're not just aware of Shopify, of e-com. You're competent because you are actually doing something successfully and efficiently. And now the last one is proficient, is skilled and competent in doing something, right? Highly skilled, the ability, it's a high level of skill or ability in a particular area. So this is where I need to learn how to spell ICT I-E-N. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. All right. So that's where you ideally want to get to. That's when you have, I call this mastery. I call this mastery. That's when you are not only a master, not only are you teaching what you do, but you're also still learning. You're still a student. You're constantly developing. And the reason I bring this up is because years ago I had made the mistake of thinking that, and I started taking on the topic of financial education, and I quickly realized that I made the mistake of thinking that I was proficient when I was merely only becoming aware of said topic. Now, this framework alone will save you headaches, it will save you relationships, it will save you time, it will save you from making poor decisions. And the reason I say this again, I made a lot of life-altering decisions because once I started learning about the stock market, about stocks, trading options, I started learning about real estate, investing in real estate. I started learning about email marketing and how you could make money online. I started learning all these topics. I take that back. I wasn't learning. I was becoming aware of all these topics. Right? So I was becoming aware of all these topics, and the excitement of the new information made me think that I knew what it took in order to accomplish the stuff that I was learning. Little did I know that it requires so much work to become proficient. So today's talk, I'm not expecting you to change your career. I'm not expecting you to make money overnight. I'm simply bringing awareness to those that may not know that there's opportunity out there. I'm simply bringing awareness to those that are stuck in a position where they simply don't know how to get out. It may be financial. You may have seen people making money online and you think because other people are doing it and you don't see the whole process that it could be done overnight. But learn from me, it's going to require a lot of steps, a lot of education. There's pillars, there's levels to this shit. And in order to get through these levels faster, you gotta take action. All right. So this talk today, what I'm going to be showing you guys is simply how to start making money by implementing systems into a local business owner's operation. All right. Now, why is this important? The reason this is important is because, again, depending on the position that you're in, I'm going to talk to the person that doesn't know what they could do in 2026 and beyond, because AI is not going away. And by me introducing you to these systems, you then hopefully feel inspired to go out there and start showing off the skill that you quite literally will have once you start understanding this, all right? Now, voice AI. We're going to talk about voice AI in this talk. We're going to start with voice AI. Now, this is just one account that I have pulled up. And again, the reason I wanted to start with this one is because it was already pulled up. I'll go ahead and exit it and pull up another one. This is in 23 days. 23 days. 22 calls were missed. And as you can see, there's an average of about 9 minutes of conversation that was had. I'm not going to scroll down because there's some data there. But at the bottom, you're going to have the contact's name. You're going to have the phone number that they called from. You're going to have the date and time. You're also going to have the duration of that conversation and what that AI agent did. Did they transfer to somebody? Did they book somebody on the calendar? Did they simply give somebody information about your business or your service? Now, this data is powerful. And the reason this is powerful is because depending on the industry or niche that you're targeting, so if you're talking to someone that on average their lifetime value of a customer is $1,500, what if one of these 22 calls is the person that would pay that $1,500? What if the lifetime value of a customer is $30,000? What if one of those calls is that customer that was going to close? But because you missed the call as a business owner, you now are missing out on potential revenue. Now I know I'm kind of pivoting. I'm kind of talking directly to local business owners or somebody that, has an operation. I have to learn how to pivot and kind of direct my message towards somebody learning. However, I want you guys to understand the value in what handling a missed call could do. So that's that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open up the agents list. And I'm going to break this down. I'm going to break this down as far as how is it that you configure this. And the reason I'm mentioning this is, again, remember the ignorance, awareness, competency, and proficiency. Yes, the first time that I'm showing you this, it may seem a little complex because you are simply ignorant. But I can promise you that if you stick around and we stay connected, I can show you how to start building this out. And I will. So the first thing you're going to want to do is name the agent. And you're going to put the business name here, the language in which Voice AI is handling the conversation, and this is the voice that you want to use. Over here you have the time zone, and here is the large language model that we're using when it comes to Voice AI. This is where you're going to put the introduction, the initial message. So, hello, thank you for calling the business name. Are you needing a diagnosis or looking for an equipment installation? That's the question. Now, let me explain to you guys how this works. Most people are a little confused in this process, but I'm going to share this. I'm going to break it down. This is programmed to answer missed calls. And if you ask a local business owner, on average, how many calls are you missing a month? They're going to say, oh, no, I take care of every call. I make sure I answer every call. Bullshit. It's impossible. Now, you don't want to respond that way, obviously. But the cool thing is, and here's how you could rebuttal. You could simply say, well, what about after hours? What are you doing then? Right? But the cool thing about once you start putting this system in place, a month goes by, a couple of weeks will go by, and you start having data that you could go to the business owner with and say, hey, look, these are the amount of calls that you've been missing over the last week, over the last month. Did you know that? Oh, and by the way, these are the questions that these calls were asking. And by the way, these are the transfers that happened while you didn't pick up the phone. Oh, and by the way, these are the amount of appointments that were booked for those missed calls. So that's that. Now, going over to advanced settings. This is a little technical, but I want to show you guys the functionality and what you have the ability to do. Maximum call time, right? So you could set it to 15 minutes, but ideally, this is just for you to make sure that you answer the customer's questions at the time in which you ask, in the time in which they ask you the question. So if they're not getting their response within 5 minutes, if they're not getting their answers, if they're not getting their questions answered within 5 minutes, then it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and time that out. Agent behavior is the speed in which voice AI is gonna converse. So do we want her to talk fast, moderate, or normal? Most people are normal is best. It's recommended for most situations. So I would recommend setting it up for normal. And voice settings. Voice setting, again, this is the speed in which the conversation is going, the voice temperature. These are best to not adjust. The default settings for the most part is good. The only thing you likely have to change is the speed. And then you could also put ambient environment sound in the background. I still haven't done that. But noise cancellation, you could remove noise plus background speech, which is massive. Now, let's go ahead and move over to the agent goal. So here, there's a knowledge base. Now, the knowledge base is the ability to crawl a website so that voice AI has data that it could reference if you, let's say if you own a car dealership and this car dealership constantly has new inventory being updated on their website every single day. There's cars coming in, cars going out. Somebody gives a call, they don't pick up after hours, or maybe they happen to miss the call, which it does happen. And voice AI takes over that conversation. And you just sold a vehicle that they were interested in. The good thing is that we have the ability to configure AI to crawl that website so that it knows that vehicle is no longer available. So it has updated information based off of what is on your website. Next thing is the prompts. So in this scenario, what we want to do is, I'm going to read this out. So do not ask why they are calling or discuss any other topic until after the contact details have been verified. Caller's name. Forgive me, caller's phone number. So this is where I have to add something, and I'm glad I'm reviewing this. I'm doing this on purpose, but we're going to also get their name. We're also going to get their name. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and click save it. So now when people call, It's going to ask for the caller's first name. I think I made a mistake. I think in the past I deleted the wrong thing. This is a live account, so that's my fault. So spell out names, unusual words. Your name is, and then it spells out a name. These are just examples for AI to know. Agent configuration. You are professional, friendly, and solution-oriented. Your voice should be warm and conversational, speaking at a moderate pace. Primary goals. Listen and understand what the caller needs. Capture qualified lead information. Encourage them to come to the shop. Schedule a time for our team to call the customer back. Conversation guidelines. Active listening. Allow callers to fully express their needs without interruption. Use acknowledgements. I understand, I see, that makes sense. Let me make sure I understand correctly. Ask clarifying questions when needed. Speaking style is use simple, clear language. Avoid technical jargon. Speak naturally with pauses. Match the caller's energy level appropriately. Be patient with elderly callers or those who need more time. The core knowledge. Company information, business hours. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 6 p.m. Saturday, 9 a.m. through 4 p.m. Sunday, closed. Hours may vary during holidays. Location. One of the little hacks as well is, and I could adjust the time on the days, but for the location, I actually wrote out 612 as in the actual word, 612. Little hack, something for you guys to know that are building voice agents. The phone number as well, having that phone number written out in words, not numbers. How to present our services. So when a caller asks what the offer, when the caller asks what you offer, follow the script exactly. The goal is to be brief and interactive. We offer two main services, car audio sales and professional installation. Anything from basic stereo setups to full custom builds. If they ask for details on car audio sales, we carry stereos, subwoofers, amplifiers, and audio parts for different budgets. Would you like to stop by the shop or have someone call you back? If they ask for details on installation services, our certified installers handle the wiring, tuning, and setup to get the best sound. Most installs are done the same day. Would you like to stop by the shop or have someone from our team call you back? Do you install equipment I already own? Yes, we can install customer provided equipment as long as it's compatible and safe for your vehicle. So these are just some Q&As that you could add. And I have a couple of other ones. I'm not going to go through all Q&As. Lead qualification and data collection. First name. May I have your first name, please? Phone number. I have your number as. Is this the best number to reach you? Transfer the call to a team member when the customer requests or requires assistance with complex or custom audio builds. If they ask anything about warranty or billing questions, if they request to speak with a manager, or if they say customer service support. In those scenarios, and I'm going to show you guys a little more of what happens, but it will literally transfer over that customer to a live person. The transfer script, it's going to say something like, okay, let me get you connected with someone from our team. These are different scenarios if it had an error. So if AI didn't necessarily catch what was it that it said, I didn't catch that, could you repeat that for me? Let me confirm that again to be sure. That's a great question. Let me get you the most accurate info. Successful resolution. Anything else I can help you with today? Thank you for calling Super Bass Car Audio. We look forward to upgrading your sound. Transfer completion. Transfer completion. I'm connecting you now with our audio specialist. Thank you for calling Super Bass Car Audio. And there's some other scenarios. I'm not going to get into these right now, but let me go ahead and save this edit that I made. Now, what I'm going to break down in this bottom section is some of the during and after actions that are taken during this conversation. So in the scenario that they want to talk to a human, you go ahead and put the phone number that you want the call to be transferred over to. When should the call transfer take place? So in this scenario, we're going to go ahead and do when the caller asks to be transferred during business hours or requires assistance with complex or custom audio bills. If they ask about warranty or billing questions or request to speak with a manager or customer service, activate this action. And what to say before transferring the call. Let me transfer you to the team member now. All right. Now, the next thing is if they happen to ask for location, when you get a chance, stop by the shop. The SMS will send this message content. So whenever they say anything about where you located, it's gonna say whenever you get a chance, stop by the shop. Here's our address. Send SMS after the call if the caller asks for hours of operation, location, direction, service details, pricing, scheduling, or a follow-up. And then it says, I'll text you our Google profile so you have our hours and location. And that's what it's going to say if somebody asks anything about location. And then the appointment. So hypothetically, if they want to book an appointment, you're going to actually have to configure a calendar. And there's a way for you to integrate the calendar, which is all inside of the system. I'm not going to get into that right now, but here's the bottom line. If you want to test it, you could actually go ahead and test it here. You could select the phone number you want to call and just start testing out the voice agent that you've built. From phone availability perspective, this is pretty cool. This is the phone number that you select. This is her heart. So you go ahead and make the purchase, and once you do make that purchase, just go ahead and add that phone number there. And you could enable AI agent as a backup to the phone number. So AI will answer the call if the user or call forwarding number does not respond. Or you could set it so that it handles every single call that comes in. Up to you. I recommend missed calls. And then you could also set it for specific working hours. So only after hours. As soon as you leave the office, that's when she will start handling all of the calls that come in. And here's the dashboard. Here's where you will get the information in terms of the amount of calls that were handled over the last month. Now, I'm not going to get into conversational AI today, but let me go ahead and log out of here and start opening up a second account. Come on, bro.
Yeah, over to the right.
All right. Now this is where the fun stuff happens. Let me get some in. All right. Here's where the fun stuff happens. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start showing you how to start boosting reviews. In fact, what I'm going to do is create another video. Keep growing, keep developing. Follow along for more systems on how to start automating things. That section was for missed calls. And the next phase that I'm going to go into is putting a system in place so that you can start automating reviews and start automating the follow-up sequence. And this same framework is going to tie into any inbound messages that go in through the social platforms. Follow along, keep growing, keep developing. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And remember, this is non-stop. Proud of you.